Okay, good morning. My name is Alessandro Russo. I am project manager for the iProcureNet project at the French Ministry of Interior. I will give you a little insight about the project before handing over to my colleagues and go more in depth about building market demands. So iProcureNet is an Horizon 2020 project with a budget of around 1.6 million euros, and which started on 1st of May 2019 and will last until the end of April 2024. The rationale behind iProcureNet is to create, let's say, an ecosystem of procurers, prescribers, and legal advisors, as well as other key stakeholders of security procurement, to share trends and needs and open pathways for joint cross-border public procurement and public procurement of innovation in the security sector. So, cross-border security procurement has the potential to become a catalyst for innovation, and iProcureNet proposes itself to overcome the obstacles in this sense, and these obstacles are mainly 5. We have awareness and information. Sometimes procurement professionals can find hard to access innovation, especially in the security sector, where commercial off-the-shelf products are mainly adopted and preferred, or they can even be unaware of some existing innovative solutions and the possibility to undertake JCBPP procedures. Practical issues: every European country has different national priorities. Legal: every European country has different national regulatory standards and different ways of implementing and transposing in national law European directives. Economic: suppliers sometimes feel unease towards joint procurement in this sector due to lack of experience. And technical: different European countries have different technical standards when it comes to security solutions. So iProcureNet is based on a 3-cycle process, and on the basis of this process, it will map European procurement environment, compare national investment strategies, identify innovation needs, and analyze security markets. All of these focusing ever increasingly on innovation. The first cycle of the project, which ended like 1 year and a half ago, has dealt mainly with COTS products. The second cycle, we just finished at the end of April 2022, has focused 50% on COTS and 50% on innovation. And the last cycle will deal mainly, if not totally, with innovation. At the end of each cycle, we will release what we call the iProcureNet Toolbox, which will be incrementally updated at the end of each cycle. And the toolbox will contain tailored guidelines for procurers willing to undertake joint procurement of security COTS or innovative solutions. And it will be based on the methods developed and tested by the procurers during the various cycles of the project. So I'll leave the floor to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Also, I would like to welcome some familiar names here. So thank you for joining today. Yeah, topic of today and from the iProcureNet was to give you lessons from our perspective, what we learn and what are the outcomes of the project for now. And when you probably know when learning about the lessons, it's good to take examples first from somebody else to learn what they did good and what they did bad. So that's also what we did in the beginning. So in that way, we conducted online survey among the European public procurers, and the aim of this survey was to learn more about existing joint cross-border public procurement initiatives through Europe. So what we find out? We find out actually very positive response, that around 75% of the respondents had a positive attitude toward joint cross-border public procurement. 25% had experienced it, meaning it's still not that very common practice, obviously, but there is also interest in doing or participating in cross-border public procurement. From this survey, as I mentioned in the beginning, we learned about difficulties. So by learning these difficulties from other projects, we were able to implement those in our methodology, how to do joint cross-border public procurement. From most common, I would choose obviously different language and culture, and those of you who are doing this kind of a projects, you probably know what I'm talking about. Obviously, in most cases, you should agree on a common language. What would be mostly English. Also, very important thing that we find out, and was several times mentioned in the responses to the survey, was that there are different processes in participating contracting authorities. So it's a good way to start by identifying these different processes in the beginning of cooperation, and then harmonizing them. In the case of iProcureNet, and I will come to it a little bit later, there was case of analyzing investment plans. By that, we are able to find out if there is a need or demand for specific goods or services in the security sector, and we find out that procurement plans or investment plans are approved differently and in different times in member states that are participating to our project. So if possible, that would be my suggestion in the future, try to harmonize also these processes. Sometimes coordination among the public procurers can be difficult, so we suggest to organize frequent, at least in the beginning, maybe also weekly telcos, but after the cooperation started, maybe you can move from not that often meetings, because it can be quite boring. Then agreeing on the assessment processes and decisions. Obviously, if you are doing joint cross-border public procurement, when more contracting authorities came together and they chose the leader who will be responsible for procurement, the assessment process will be done according to the law of a given country. But still, in a difficult procurements, when you are using description of the subject of the tender by functional specification, then it's a good idea to start preparing, or when you are preparing the tender itself and then the evaluation, to agree on the evaluation process. Interesting example from other project, which was Fabulous project. They set up two committees, one external evaluation panel coming from people outside of the consortium. But is it even worth it to go through all these troubles? The following benefits of joint cross-border public procurement was chosen by respondents to the survey. I think we can all agree that economies of scale is one of the benefits of this joint cross-border public procurement, because aggregating demand, it's possible that you will receive better prices, as in the case you are doing tender by yourself. A very important thing in the security sector is the possibility to negotiate better contract conditions.
Hi everyone, just a reminder, if you could close your mics, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to. Okay. Possibility to negotiate better contract conditions. We have this example coming also from Slovakia, Slovak Republic, when we see that if the demand in the security sector, especially in the Ministry of Interior of Slovak Republic, is not, let's say, big enough, then the contract or the suppliers or manufacturers even of specific goods or solutions are not willing directly to bid in Slovakia. And then it's obviously only you will get the offers and tenders from actual, let's say, intermediaries, and that can become tricky with the question of a price, but also when it comes to contract conditions, because you have no direct contact with the manufacturer. So when it comes to warranty, it's more difficult. Definitely, when we talk about cross-border public procurement, it's also promotion of innovation, research and development. What I'm very keen on is, let's say, also collaboration and sharing knowledge. I think that by doing this collaborative procurements, we can enhance professionalization in public procurement, because our project is focusing on public procurement and network of public procurements, and then obviously standardization of technical specification. Now I'm coming to the question of demand. When we talk about demand, we need to talk obviously also about the needs and opportunities. And how do we approach that in our project iProcureNet? This is dealt by and in work package 2. And in this work package, we are trying to collect and analyze the investment trends included in the investment plans from the procurers involved in our consortium. And then to process these data and produce the initial list of candidate segments for joint procurement. What it basically means, we collect investment plans from different participating partners, meaning mostly Ministry of Interior, but it can be also border control, firefighters, or criminal police. We analyze this data, and if we find cross-match, then we identify this as a possible segment for joint cross-border public procurement, meaning there is a demand and need from different participating partners in doing the project or procurement in this sector. Obviously, sources of information is a very important element for the success of that project. So we don't collect the information only from investment plans, but we try to look also in internal security funds, so EU funds, then H2020 program, and also, sorry, we still have some background noise, thank you. Then we are doing workshops also with other H2020 and Horizon Europe programs, either being the case of network of practitioners or the research and development projects. And then we are also trying to analyze the need or demand from attending the international trade fairs, and I will talk about it later. So first, when we talk about investment plans, we believe it's a very good basis for the initial analysis and identification of potential candidates or potential sector segments where we could do joint cross-border public procurement. Our ambition is a little bit to go further if possible in the future, so not to collect investment plans only from our consortium partners, but if it would be feasible, then also from other institutions in the security sector. Obviously, sometimes there is difficulties in obtaining these investment plans, and that's due to sometimes sensitive information included in this investment plan. So the information are shared safely within our consortium. What we also saw is that in some member states, there is more than one organization responsible for security sector. So we are trying to collect these investment plans also from different stakeholders in a given country. That was example of Romania. And when it comes to investment plans and this initial analyze, then we prepare a dedicated questionnaire that we are sending to the consortium partners to see if there is a cross match. So here you can see this is extract. Obviously, I haven't included the countries, but the numbers you see there are representing the countries, and by this we are able to identify if there is interest from the consortium partners, if no, or do we need more additional information. We collect information about needs and demand also from dedicated workshops. We organize several workshops with a network of practitioners and also research and development projects. And one of the examples are the workshop with the robot and fold-out projects. And in these workshops, we present us what we do in iProcurement, and then there is a possibility of research and development project representatives to present their solution. So first of all, the problems they're trying to solve, and how they plan to do that. And by these, we try to present the possibilities of possible joint procurements for our consortium partners. So meaning we invite people from the procurement departments, but also from end user side, and by these, the research and development projects can present their solutions, and maybe there will be a demand in the future. And last but not least, there are the security fairs. So we are trying to visit security fairs. Obviously, in the first years it was not possible due to the COVID, but the last year we were able to visit these fairs, which actually started to happen on site. And visiting these security fairs, for example, very important one, Milipol in Paris last year. Also, we visited one in Bratislava and Brno. And visiting this fair, we were able to present the iProcureNet itself, but also to see what is there on the market. So what is possible on the market, where is the innovation heading. So we had dedicated talks with the representative of market and suppliers, and we asked them where do they see the given segment, the market, for example, drones, where the future is in 5 or 10 years. So, and by this we can present this information all to the consortium partners, and together collect the demand or create the demand for these innovative solutions. Okay, thank you very much. That was from me, and happy to answer the questions in the end of the webinar.
Thanks very much, Jozef. That's really interesting. You know, this kind of proactive seeking out of opportunities for joint procurement and the benefits that it can bring. Okay, so we'll just a reminder while we're to put your questions as they arise, or any comments, please include them in the chat. And I'll hand over now to Hayley to talk about the EcoQuip project and joint statements of demand.